That Wemby boy, good.
That Wemby boy kind of tough.
That Wemby boy's good.
That boy good.
Man, the Spurs stole this one. That's how I took it. The Spurs, listen, they were favored going to this game. No Josh Giddey, but the greatness of Victor Wembanyama comes through for the San Antonio Spurs. First, let's go to the box score. The Bulls lose to the Spurs 121-117. Victor Wembanyama 38-12, 6 of 9 from three-point range. De'Aaron Fox 21-5. Castle 19-11 for the Bulls. Kevin Huerter 23-5. Trey Jones 27-7. Ayo Dosunmu 20-5 for the Bulls. A well-rounded effort. I thought the Bulls played really well up until the fourth quarter, but Victor Wembanyama is just not human. The man's an alien. He came out really aggressive, Kwab. I don't know what was going on in the air in Chicago today, but he came out very aggressive, looking for a shot, getting into the paint, trying to score the basketball. That continued the whole game. You know, fourth quarter comes, and it becomes not just the Victor Wembanyama show, but the Victor Wembanyama and Luke Cornett show.
Yes, sir. French vanilla.
Vanilla, baby.
French vanilla. Yeah.
Gotta love it, man. Listen, this was a game where going into the fourth quarter, the Bulls controlled the pace, they controlled the tempo. I thought they did a good job getting into the paint, kicking out for three, moving the basketball. Josh Giddey didn't play, so, you know, you don't have your best player. You don't have your lead playmaker. But the way this Bulls offense goes, man, it's sort of like, hey, we're going to share the basketball. We're going to swing the rock. We're going to get into the paint. We're going to create disadvantages, and we're going to go with it. And the Bulls did that really well. But at the end of to start the fourth quarter, they went cold. The Spurs fought back. They clawed back. Shout out to the Spurs showing resilience there. And they were able to steal a victory in which, to be honest with you, when I heard Giddey was out, I thought they'd win anyway. Now, it didn't go the way they wanted it to go for the first three and a half quarters, but shows a lot of resilience on the road. This is what good teams do, right? Even though this is a game where you're expected to win with the best player out on the other team, you might go down early, but you don't give up. You claw, you fight back, and your star takes over the game, and he wins it in the fourth.
Yeah. I'll say Wemby's ridiculous, man.
It's insane, bro. And the game tying three shot and the go-ahead shot were three-pointers, too. From a 7-6 foot, like, not in the post, not dunking on you.
After crossing up the opposing center, by the way.
Yeah, after crossing. What are we watching, man? This is insane.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna speak on the Bulls first before I get on the Spurs.
Okay.
Bulls were without Josh Giddey, obviously. Also without Kobe White, who
Still missing Kobe White, yeah.
Yeah. Who you made this point last game when we did Bulls Cavs. You're like, the Cavs had Donovan Mitchell, and the Bulls didn't have your go-to, and you're missing basically your go-to backcourt, who would, if the game ends up kind of slowing down as it did in the fourth quarter, and you can't find offense, you can kind of be like, go get a bucket or make a play. And the Bulls didn't have that today, but overall, the way they played was fantastic throughout three quarters. Bulls fans, I asked this. If you guys get in the comments, how do you feel about Vucevic? Because I love Jalen Smith. He's having a six-man of the year type of run right now. But Vuce is either like playing really well, or like, I'm talking about the course of the game, he was hitting three, some tough shots, or then he blows a wide open layup when nobody touches him. It's just, I was like, yo, what are you doing? It was very confusing. But overall, like, the Bulls were up in the game because of your offense and your defense. Like, the tempo, like, even on made baskets, they were pushing the ball, passing, like, very unselfish play, like swing, like, and it felt like they went cold. Spurs up the defense a little bit, but the Bulls just kind of went cold, and they didn't have that guy. The other side, the Spurs had that guy. And that guy is,
man.
You know what I mean? It's the alien. He was hooping. I think we're gonna see a lot of teams play the Spurs physical. That's what's gonna happen. I think both fans of both teams are gonna say they didn't like the reffing. I didn't like the reffing throughout the course of the game. I just felt like the refs were kind of. I think the announcers were saying is they were letting them play. But it was like really overly physical, where there were times I'm like, that's a foul, and nothing was called. And I'm talking on both sides. It happened throughout the course of the game. So I wasn't a fan of that. But fourth quarter comes, and you could tell like Victor was like, "Yeah, we're not losing this game," and that's why a lot of people feel like he is in the MVP conversation, and like he played really well, especially in the fourth quarter, and just not offensively, like defensively. Some of the like he had a block where it looked like it was a goaltender. He basically blocked it into the rim and it popped out. Like
Yeah.
he was ridiculous throughout the course of the game. And to me, the past couple of games the Spurs have won, it's been a lot of balanced scoring throughout. We've seen some of the games were covered, and today it was they needed Vic to step up and be Vic. Like we had, like you said, Fox had a 21-point game and Castle had a double, but like Devin Vassell was basically a non-factor. Harrison Barnes didn't, to me. I like there. I can go down the list of players who have had an impact before, and they didn't really show up this game in terms of just knocking down open shots or being more aggressive. Maybe it was the Bulls tempo. Like we talk about the Bulls tempo and the way the pace they play is very, very real. It seems to have affected the Spurs, but great win by the Spurs, man. To me, we make the statement, and some people might take it however you want, but you're supposed to win the games you're supposed to win. Like a team doesn't have their best player, you want to be Spurs see themselves as contenders this year, see themselves as a playoff team. You're supposed to win this game, and they did that.
Yeah, I mean, we can't talk about just Wemby and Luke Cornell on the offensive end, right? Like, obviously, defensively, they stepped it up as well. Wemby creates such an advantage for the Spurs on the defensive end because A, he can guard the rim himself, but B, what you started seeing in the fourth quarter too was like the Spurs kind of just staying at home on the 3-point line. They weren't completely helping in the paint if they got beat or not. They kind of just trusted Wemby with everything. And there were some plays at the rim, like you said, Kwab, that there might have been some contact. The Bulls could have went to the free throw line, but the Spurs protected the rim better in the fourth quarter. They caught a couple of breaks too when the Bulls got offensive rebounds, kicked it back out for three. The Bulls were missing those threes. They weren't hitting them like they were earlier in the game. But they also stayed home a little bit. And to me, if you're getting beat on the perimeter and you're losing that point of attack right there, it is such a luxury to have someone like Victor Wembanyama there because you could kind of like, you don't have to chase. You don't have to be put in a blender because you trust the guy protecting the rim. It is so valuable. And to me, that's how the Spurs pretty much made their comeback. They protected the rim. They, I do think there were some fortunate calls or non-calls, but like you said, there were some on the other end too. Castle got like absolutely hammered.
I mean, it was. I'm not saying that it was like one side. It was both sides. It was both sides.
I'm not saying the Spurs got the benefit. I'm not saying the Spurs were favored by the refs. What I am saying is that because of how the game was, that because whatever the pace and the physicality that the rest had happened, it benefited the Spurs in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm saying, and that's just how it was. It's not. I'm not saying the refs cheated. So please don't. Spurs fans,
we're not.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they also played good. They were deflecting passes on the perimeter, even if they weren't turning them over. Like there were a bunch of times like they stopped the Bulls' possession because they deflected the ball out of bounds. Right now you have to reset the offense. You're not running anymore. The defense is set. The Bulls' offense is predicated on getting out and running and get you in disadvantages. And the Spurs just did not allow that to happen. Especially when you're making shots, it's easier to get back on defense. And I thought Castle was fantastic today, pushing the tempo. And Wemby just at the end of the game, like you said, it's just really odd to see a 7'6" man close out the game with back-to-back 3-pointers using NBA street moves. It's just not normal, man. What we're watching is not normal.
Like he called for the ball, was like, yo, I need it right now, and then put Vooch on skates, man. It's not fair, and like look, again, like you said, it was not saying that the refs were cheating, but it was they allowed it to be a very, very physical game in terms of how contact at the rim. And I feel like a lot of Spurs fans are going to notice this throughout the course of the season. You feel like the only way you can play Wemby is to be physical. So it's how much physicality are the refs going to allow? They're going to get away with.
There was one player, Castle, gave it to Wemby like a drop pass on the block. Wemby, it shocked Wemby. It surprised him. He caught it. And then he went up to dunk it. And as he was dunking it, he got hit like in the face, in the chest. And he didn't even like really dunk it. He just kind of like put it in like we put in a basketball in a Fisher-Price hoop. It was one of the most absurd things I've ever seen because it wasn't like really like he dunked it technically, but it was like almost like a giant just like putting something in a breadbasket. It was
I mean, it
It's
was yeah,
just
it looked ridiculous. It
it's
looked it
it's
was like,
insane
what is
watching him
this?
play. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's insane watching him
it's
play.
insane. And I
Yeah.
was gonna that was the other thing I was gonna say. Like we both like when we're younger, we watch how teams try to guard Shaq in terms of like we're gonna
Yeah.
have to beat him up, and throughout the course of the game, it was like, oh well, this game's gonna end up being physical. Like that's what's going to happen. So I think Spurs fans have to get used to seeing that. I know some of them commented in the past, some of the past games are like, we're not mentioning how they're grabbing and holding Wemby,
Yeah.
and that's going to be to me that's going to be a constant. That's going to
Yeah,
happen.
and like little guys swiping at the ball, maybe hitting his
Yeah,
arm here and there.
yeah,
I can see, guards and especially physical teams like the Thunder getting away with crap like that. Because the
yeah.
Thunder, I mean, there's already complaints that they're beating up their opponents. I can imagine like Caruso and when J-Dub gets back and those guys, Case and Wallace, whenever they're around Wemby, I guarantee you they're going to be swiping at the ball.
They're gonna,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be that swarming type of defense where they're
Yeah.
like you're gonna see a lot of physicality, but also, I think early on in the game, and I've made this point before, Wemby it felt like he was rushing too much. He got a couple of charge
But he was
calls.
aggressive, man. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's a difference between being aggressive and
Yeah.
rushing, and I think you can tell he's finding the balance, which is scary
Yeah.
because he's still getting better.
He's still
Like,
a baby, bro. It's
yeah,
crazy.
he's still getting better because
Yeah.
we saw in that fourth quarter where it was just like he was locked in, aggressive, but like there was control aggression.
Yeah.
There was control, like picking, like the way he was picking his spots and attacking, and nobody could stop him. And it was just unfair. It was very, very unfair.
Yeah.
To the Bulls side, because we just don't want to not talk about the Bulls. To the Bulls
Lost
side,
3 in a row, man.
lost 3 in a row, which is rough. And to me, you not having Giddey, not having Kobe, I think it's really, really big on them. But every time we watch them, we are still like impressed with the way
I
they
like
play.
this team. I like the way they play. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you always talk about you've talked about it in multiple videos about the pace, the way they push the tempo, their defense, like as a team, it's been great. Again, they're not fully healthy. I think they're still missing Zach Collins also. I think that's another big they're missing. So I'm interested to see how they look when you're fully healthy at like from top to bottom, and how they're gonna look in the East, because again, it's a quote unquote it's a down year in the East, and the Bulls have been one of these surprise teams, and it feels like teams are not gonna take them lightly anymore.
No, I think teams know what they're dealing with when it comes to the Bulls. Like it's gonna be a track meet. You're gonna have to defend, and if you're not ready to defend and make your defensive rotations, they're going to murder you.
Yeah, like you could lose. Like the Spurs could have easily lost this game.
And that's why I'm impressed with the Spurs too, because you go down 13 in the fourth quarter and against a team at home who's just not missing from 3. It feels like at least.
Yeah.
And you still dig deep, you play defense, and you come back on the road. I think it's a fantastic win by the Spurs. I mean, people can say what they want about Giddey not playing and whatnot, but I still think it shows a lot of character to not give up on that game and to come back on the road and get a W, especially after you all lost 2 in a row too. Like there could be some doubt creeping in. Like, hey, listen, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. Maybe maybe we were overhyped a little bit. Like you never know what goes on in the heads of players or the teams. So to come back in the fashion that they did, I think it's really impressive.
Yeah, wins like this are important for a young team, because I think some Spurs fans would say this is a game like they would have lost last year. They would have easily just lost last year. They wouldn't, or if a team had a lead or made a comeback on them, they wouldn't have been able
fans,
to.
would we have lost this game last year?
No, really. Think about that. No, that's a good question. That's a good question to pose, because I've seen that before in the timeline where a previous game where the Spurs were able to sustain a lead, lose it, and still come back and win. And Spurs fans were like, we would have lost this game last year. So having the belief they have now, especially as a young team, they look great. I think Fox is still getting back to where he was.
He's a little turnover prone today.
Yeah, it was too much. But I can't wait till they have Dylan Harper back, just because I'm a big Dylan Harper fan, and to have him in the combination of just Fox, Castle, and Vassell, like just having that guard rotation all around, where like anytime somebody subs, you still got to impact like guard and two guard on the floor.
You're fast. Yeah.
Unfair, fast. So I can't wait till that happens for Spurs fans. But like you said, great win by them.
All right, the Spurs beat the Bulls 121-117. Great game. Tomorrow, join us for Dime After Dark.
After dark.
After the late game. It's going to be Nuggets Kings, but we're going to be reviewing the Tuesday slate and also the latest headlines in the NBA. Join us in the chat. We had like 50 people last chat. It was a lot of fun. It was good
fun.
times. We're trying to build that to 100. So join us.
Come through, ask some questions. You know what I mean? Joke with us. We have a good time. We joke around. It's a great time.
You can follow the Dime Everything Dime NBA. I'm Josh. He's Kwab. We'll see you tomorrow for Dime After Dark. Peace.